Okay, well, thank you very much. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Salamat pagi, salamat patang, salamat malam to each and every one of you who are watching my program. Today, it's June 28 na po, Sabado na po, no? Ito po si Nico Fabian dito sa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. And once again, we'll be touching on some issues regarding ang mga updates, developments dyan po sa Pilipinas, especially mga issues regarding itong impeachment file ni Inday Sara Duterte. And of course, ano yun na mga istorya narinig natin po tungkol sa Australia. Hindi daw po willing to host si Tatay Digong. Si Tatay Digong once ma-approve ang interim release bid of Tatay Digong by the ICC or International Criminal Court. Ano ba ito? Fake news ba ito? Or ano ba ito? Let's see po, is it politically motivated just to confuse ang mga tao or destroy ang credibility of Inday Sara Duterte at saka mga Duterte supporters, or anong rason? We don't know po, no? We don't know. But once again, I'm inviting you dito po sa programa natin, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico, on a Saturday morning. Saturday tayo ngayon po, and morning ang programa natin dahil po medyo relax tayo. Kahapon medyo busy tayo po dito sa sabihin natin na Kota Kinabalu. To all my countrymen, mga fellow kababayan ko dito sa Malaysia, particularly dito po sa Sabah East Malaysia, and very specific po dito sa Lone City of Sabah East Malaysia, we call it Kota Kinabalu. It's a beautiful place, 100% po. You will enjoy once you visit Kota Kinabalu or Sabah in general po, dahil we are promoting ecotourism. And as what I said, multiracial country itong Malaysia. Wala tayong problema sa mga pagkain natin dito po, because pwede din ang food for the Hindu believers, for the Muslims mayroon din tayo, and for the Christians mayroon din tayo. Walang prohibition po, no? It's a multiracial country, and you will really feel ang the real meaning of multiracial community po dito sa Sabah, dahil in one table, kung pupunta tayo sa restaurant, in one table you can eat together with a Muslim friend, a Hindu's friend, a Roman Catholic or Christian friend, or whoever lang. Walang prohibitions po. Lahat ng respeto ang reliyon natin. So, sige na, umpisa na tayo po ang programa natin. And of course, welcome din po sa mga overseas Filipino workers natin dyan sa mga iba-ibang nasyon sa mundo. Overseas Filipino workers are the modern heroes of the Philippines, dahil they are helping in many ways, directly, indirectly. They are helping the country in terms of remittances po sa economy, no? In terms of ideas, in terms of making sure that our young generations, ang mga youth natin po, will be properly educated, disciplined, and they will not be a social problem in the future, dahil they are working very hard. Ang mga overseas Filipino workers, they are working very hard sa ibang nasyon, so that they will be able to give the necessary assistance to the loved ones which they left behind dyan po sa Pilipinas, temporarily left behind po. Anyway, alright, umpisa natin ang programa natin, and to start with, I would like to pass this breaking news dyan sa Pilipinas, and it happened 7:07 yata yun this morning, no? Mayroon tayong very strong earthquake na experience ang mga tao dyan po sa Davao Occidental. May earthquake tayo, and it is 6.1 earthquake. So malakas ito, no? Malakas ito, and we just hope that nothing, walang mga biktima dyan. But according to the Pag-asa, ang Weather Bureau dyan po sa Pilipinas, na there was no any reported sabihin natin na fatalities or damages in properties po, no? During the earthquake, although we are expecting some more, sabihin natin, aftershock movements dyan sa area po. So, let me share with you itong news report po regarding the earthquake 6.1 movement of the earth dyan po sa Davao Occidental this morning at 7:07. Nandito po, let's listen to this news article coming from the local media dyan po sa Pilipinas. Let's listen to this.
Opo, hingi lang po kami ng initial update natin dito po sa nangyaring lindol sa Davao Occidental, sir.
Actually, yung 5.5 na sinasabi nyo kanina, aftershock lang po yan.
Ay, opo.
Magnitude 6.2. May mas malakas na tayong lindol kanina at 7:07. Yung initial estimate namin is 6.9, but based on our calculation, nasa magnitude 6.21 na lamang ito. And may lalim dito na 79 kilometers. And ang pinakamataas na intensity is intensity 5 sa may Glan and Malungon in Sarangani, and intensity 4 naman sa may Alabel, Kiamba, and Malapatan in Sarangani din. Sa may General Santos City, Tupig and Coronadal City, sa may Davao City, and sa may Santa Cruz, Davao del Sur, and sa may Jose Abad Santos, sa may Davao Occidental. Pati na rin sa may Moncayo, sa may Davao de Oro.
Director, ito po nangyaring lindol na ito, yung initial na 6.1, magnitude 6.1. May ini-expect pa po bukod doon sa isa natin na nabanggit kanina na aftershocks. May iba pa po or posible pang aftershocks ito?
Yes, may mga aftershocks na tayo. Yung isa nasa 2.6. So we would still expect aftershocks in the next few days. But when we say aftershocks kasi, these are usually 1 degree lower than the main shock. So hindi lang tataas sa magnitude 6.1.
Opo. At ito pong magnitude 6.1 na ito, may initial reports po ba sa inyo ng damages na possible na nangyari dito?
Wala po tayong in-expect na damages po dito kasi po ang pinakamataas na intensity natin is intensity 5 lamang. Damages would start at intensity 6.
So, at ibig sabihin sa intensity 5, medyo naramdaman lang talaga nila yung alog ng lupa because of this magnitude 6.1.
Yes, that's right. Yun lang po yung when we say intensity 5, ito yung description nito is strong, generally felt by most people indoors and outdoors, and then kapag tulog ka, pwede kang magising. So basically yun po yung general description ng intensity 5. But wala pong damages sa intensity 5.
Last na lang po, Director, ano po ang naging cause nitong magnitude 6.1 na ito? May fault line po ba na gumalaw para nag-generate ng ganitong lindol po?
Yung ganitong kalalim na lindol, 79 kilometers, most likely sa trends to. So nasa gitna siya ng Cotabato Trends, Halmahera Trends, and sa may Philippine Trends, Sangihe Trends. So most likely mas malapit siya sa may Cotabato Halmahera Trends.
Ayun, so ito po yung nanggaling. Sige po, Director, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras at sa information na ibinigay po ninyo sa amin ngayong umaga, sir.
Okay, yan po ang latest breaking news dyan po sa Pilipinas. Ang magnitude 6.1 na earthquake na it was felt here in dyan po sa Davao Occidental. And based on the Weather Bureau, na walang reported damages. Thanks God, walang reported damages. Ang mga kababayan ko dito sa Sabah, kung mayroon kayong mga relatives dyan po sa Davao Occidental, you have nothing much to worry dahil po ang tremor, ang earthquake po, magnitude 6.01, no? Did not resulted to or cause any damages in properties or any reported fatalities po. So thanks God, no? Thanks God. Natural calamities such as earthquake po, mahirap talaga po. It will come sa time na we never expected. Kaya nga, dyan po sa Pilipinas, ang gobyerno natin po is doing regularly ang mga calamity drills. So kung mayroon tayo mga calamity drills po, please pay attention to the drill para you will know what to do in the event na mayroon tayong calamities such as earthquake, such as fire, or anything, no? And natural calamities po. So importante we take part in any kind of calamity drills organized by our local authorities, our national authorities po, no? Para sa kabutihan natin ito. Alright, umpisa na tayo ang issues dyan po sa Pilipinas, ang political issues sa Pilipinas, and I suppose ang mga kababayan ko dito sa Kota Kinabalu o dito sa Sabah, they would also like to know ano ang mga latest developments dyan sa Pilipinas. And if you remember, na the other day I was talking about, or I mentioned in my previous episode about Inday Sara Duterte, or Vice President Sara Duterte mentioned about Australia. Most likely or possible, included ito sa lista as one of the countries na might consider, sabihin natin, playing host to former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte in the event the International Criminal Court will approve or grant the request of Tatay Digong, ang council niya, spearheaded by no other than si Nicholas Kaufman on the interim release bid. But medyo they played out this story. I hope I'm wrong. They played out this story. This is my own opinion. Nakita ko some people, the responsible people, played out this story and make it an issue dyan po sa Pilipinas. And yesterday, hot issue ito po sa Pilipinas, no? Very hot issue ito sa Pilipinas. So, let me share with you itong video clips that I prepared for all of you tungkol itong issue ng Australia. Ano ba ito? Fake news ba ito? Ang news report, very questionable. And later on, as a journalist, hindi naman tayo perfect, no? But I can share with you some of my ideas when it comes to news writing, when it comes to news gathering and news writing and news reporting po. So, ito po. Let's listen to itong report coming from the Philippines regarding the issue. You hold on.
The Duterte camp is looking for a country to host the detained former President Rodrigo Duterte as he waits for the International Criminal Court's decision on his request for interim release. ICC Assistant to Counsel Cristina Cody says this is based on Vice President Sara Duterte's tone in past interviews in the past few days. For Conti, what's important now is to find out what the conditions would be for the former president's interim release as some portions of the defense's document were redacted.
Palagay ko dun sa tono ni Sara Duterte, naghahanap pa at di umano daw kinukonsider, kaya nasa Australia siya kinukonsider daw. Kung ano't ano man yung tinatawag na Assembly of State Parties o lahat ng member state ng ICC ay pwedeng mag-weigh in at sabihin, sino sa atin ang mag-host dito?
Vice President Sara Duterte earlier disclosed that Australia was among the countries considered by her father's lawyers in the ICC for his potential temporary liberty. Of the two countries named in the request, one committed to helping or to receiving and accepting the former president, according to the younger Duterte. But the Australian government confirms to ABS-CBN News it has not agreed to host Duterte, nor considering such. Australia is one of the 125 state parties to the Rome Statute, the founding treaty of the ICC. While aware of Duterte's application for urgent interim release, Australia says it would rather leave the matter to the ICC. But in an interview in Davao City Friday, Vice President Sara Duterte clarified that there was no application of interim release in Australia for her father.
I'd like to clarify that the defense team of President Duterte never reached out to the Australian government no application of former President Duterte for its release in Australia.
The Vice President also stated Australia is not included in the two countries named by the defense team in its urgent request for interim release before the ICC.
The submission of the lawyers of President Duterte, wherein there were two countries indicated in the document, albeit redacted, I have to confirm that the two countries, none of which is Australia.
Meanwhile, since the document is redacted, Conti says they do not know what other countries are being considered.
Ang hirap, di ba, tansyahin kung hindi mo alam yon. Pero sa bahagi namin, yung kondisyones na yung binagit ko kanina, yung qualifications kung bakit ka ikukulong, yung mga yon ang sinisilip namin. At yung pangalawa, obstructing or interfering with the processes. Doon kami kinakabahan dahil may kapasidad siya, may kapangyarihan, at may history, may kasaysayan yan ng pag-obstruct o isa sa panganib niya, yung proceedings, lalo na yung investigasyon laban sa kanya.
Alright, yun po ang report that I managed to record para sa inyong lahat regarding itong issue po ng Australia. Sa news report, ang Australia daw po is not willing to play host kay Tatay Digong in the event the interim release of Tatay Digong, ang bid niya po will be approved by ICC. And klaro naman po, sinabi ni Inday Sara, she did not say na ang Australia po. The first place, she was telling to the reporters and to the audience when she was in Australia na narinig niya mayroon mga istorya ganito po na ang Australia is will be considered or maybe part of the list ng mga countries who will play host or thinking of a play host kay Tatay Digong in the event ICC will approve ang temporary freedom request of Tatay Digong. So yun po, klaro yan po. And of course, I also want to say something on this news article na nakita natin po medyo questionable, no? Questionable. So, okay, my press conference in Sara Duterte yesterday, and I managed to record a portion of her press conference yesterday po, and I will be sharing it with you now. Okay? Okay, to start with, nandito po ang portion of the press conference of Inday Sara Duterte regarding the issue. 147. Hold on.
The Australian government is aware that former Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte has applied for interim release to a third named country. Australia has not agreed to host Mr. Duterte if he is granted interim release, nor are we considering this. Mr. Duterte's interim release is a matter for the ICC to consider in line with the Rome Statute. Kind regards, Hasna. Media Liaison Section, Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. So ito yung nakuha namin. And as I said, the defense team of President Duterte did not apply for interim release in Australia. So I do not know from where she or he based her email.
And it was dated yesterday or today?
Wala siyang walang date. Pero i-blur ang name nung sinulatan.
Hindi siya scammer. Hindi na siya
Kana po nang dili ko kay Balo, no, kay wala may apelido, first name lang, one name lang ang, so wala ko kabalo if this is a family name or a first name. Oh, so as journalists and as reporters, pwede ba ka magbuhat o news item na wala kay source?
Okay, yan po ang response ni Inday Sara Duterte when it comes to this issue ng Australia denying that they are willing to play host kay Tatay Digong if the bid of Tatay Digong for interim release will be approved by the ICC. And sa bandang huli, if you notice, mayroon yan na tanong si Inday Sara Duterte, pwede ba ang news article walang source? Okay. Now, let me say something about this thing. Kasi nandito ako po sa profession ng journalism. Now, for me, I strongly believe that every time we write a story, we write the news articles or what kind of, be it a feature story, be it straight news, or whatever story that we will be writing and will be published sa newspaper or will be aired sa TV programs or radio programs po, kailangan talaga po may source. Kung walang source po, saan na ang credibility ng storya natin po, no? Saan ang credibility? Very big question mark yun po, kulang source ang storya. Because anybody can just say according to, no? And we don't know whether that story is genuine or not. It is coming from the authority concerned, ang source na po, no? Or maybe it's an invention of the writer. So, for me, every time we write a story, or I write a story, I make sure that there will be a source. There will be a source. Sometimes when we write a story, we use some names, no? And we don't even carry the, sabihin natin, ang full name ng source natin, no? But, we put there kung sino po, no? And depende on the, sabihin natin, depende on the weight of the story, If it is a sensitive story, then we really have to put the name of the source or identify ang source natin. Yon ang importante po. For the sake of protecting your credibility, the credibility of your story. Kung walang source po, medyo mahirap yun po, no? It can be dubbed as fake news. It can be dubbed as fake news. Kasi wala kang source, no? Wala kang source. So, where did you get? Siguro sa mga komentaryo, commentaries, articles, that is his or her own opinion, observations po. So maybe pwede na yun mag-hide siya po ang source niya. And of course, nandiyan pa rin ang question of credibility of the story. When we talk about the story, okay, let me share with you itong itong news article, no? Ang news article when it comes to sana yan, when it comes to the issue ng Australia, sana yon ang news article. Hold on, I'll try to get ang istorya. Saan ba ito? Hold on, tingnan natin. Earthquake, Philippine. Alright, sandali. Just give me a moment. Alright, nandito. Siguro ito. Ito po. Ito po ang news. The Australian government has not agreed to host Rodrigo Roa Duterte amid the petition of the camp of former chief executive to the International Court to allow his interim release from detention in The Hague. A source po, never mention ang pangalan ng source. A source yesterday said Australia is not considering allowing, A source yesterday said Australia is not considering allowing Duterte to stay in the country after Vice President Sara Duterte confirmed that it is one of the countries being considered once her father's petition is granted. In an interview with the Melbourne last Sunday, the Vice President said her father's lawyers are looking at Australia for his release to a third party. And the story po, walang mention ang source, no? Galing ba ito sa Australian government? Galing ba ito sa one of the ministers? Or galing ito sa kanina po? Source lang sila, sabi nila source. So, the source cannot be a false source, a genuine source. Kung genuine itong source po, then I strongly believe that this writer should come out or reveal ang source na po. And I notice also po, itong news article, no? Walang byline. They did not mention who wrote this story. So, fictitious na po. Very big question mark na po, no? And as of what I said, ako po, for how many decades, donkey years, I've been doing my profession as a journalist po. I make sure that may source ako po when I write my stories dahil po importante talaga ito po for the credibility of your story. Kung walang source po, mahirap to believe, no? And think about it, na when it comes to news, no? When we deliver news or we share important news sa publiko or sa public po, no? Especially sensitive stories like this, no? Like this, it can create unnecessary problem between the Philippine government and the Australian government po, no? What if today or tomorrow the Australian government say, hey, what are you doing dyan po ang mga media sa Pilipinas? Why are you carrying out this story? We are not aware of anything. As what si Inday Sara Duterte was saying, na they did not ask any help from Australia when it comes to the temporary release of Tatay Digong. Tatay Digong. Let's listen to what Sara Duterte said when it comes to itong whether she spoke to the Australian government tungkol itong issue po. Nandito, let's listen to this. Saan na yun? Okay, let's listen to this.
No, I never talked to any government official when I was in Australia. And I know for a fact na hindi Australia yung dalawang countries na redacted doon sa petition for interim release. Yes. So, yeah.
Nasa na tayo discover for those two countries? Kasi crucial din po dito ito dun sa magiging clear the need for her president.
Ay, hindi naman. Ang pagiging mayor niya, kailangan lang niya mag-oath. Hindi ko alam kung anong desisyon at ano yung challenge.
Okay, yan po si Inday Sara Duterte confirming na she never mentioned about talking to the Australian government regarding the issue. The other thing that I would like to share with you now is tungkol ang statement ni Inday Sara Duterte yun sa ang mga list of countries ba? List of countries. Let's listen to this.
I think it was clear sa aking statement na is in the list, but I never said that Australia is one of the two countries in the petition. Never said that. So, siguro, ano na lang din siguro ito, kagagawan ng ano, likely, of course. I would not be surprised if this is propaganda coming from the from the administration.
What did you ask Australia about it?
About the interim release, hindi na kasi alam ko naman na hindi totoo yung ng interim release sa Australia. So, hindi ko na kailangan tanungin ang Australia. No. Though I think, sa tingin ko lang kasi intellectually challenged naman kasi talaga ito sila. So, akala siguro nila pumunta ako doon sa Australia for interim release. Yun ang ganyan mag-isip ang mga intellectual.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin po si Inday Sara Duterte. Simple ang mga answer niya po. And straight to the point. Straight to the point. Okay, another footage I would like to share with you. Itong, when she mentioned, this earlier footage natin po, you heard about intellectually challenged. Anong ibig sabihin ng intellectually challenged? Ibig sabihin yun po, B-O-B-O. Yan. But, ginamit lang yung pangalan, intellectually challenged, para maganda marinig natin po. Pero actually, ang meaning dyan po sa atin, lengguwahe, sa Tagalog po, B-O-B-O yun po. B-O-B-O yun po. Yan. Very smart si Inday Sara Duterte when choosing itong mga sabihin natin mga words in describing ang mga tao na B-O-B-O. Ganun ba yun? B-O-B-O. Okay, but anyway, let's move on to this intellectually challenged. Sabi ni Inday Sara Duterte sa mga those who criticize her po and raising this issue. Let's listen to this.
No. Though I think, sa tingin ko lang kasi intellectually challenged naman kasi talaga ito sila. So, akala siguro nila pumunta ako doon sa Australia for interim release. Yun ang ganyan mag-isip ang mga intellectually challenged. Hindi masyado malalim yung pag-iisip nila. Oo. Hindi nila pinapalaliman yung pag-iisip. So, siguro, akala nila, dahil pumunta ako Australia, akala nila related yun sa interim release. Hindi. Alright, thank you, VP. Thank you.
Okay, simple ang mga sagot ni Inday Sara Duterte. Alright, the issue raised by some people, criticizing si Inday Sara Duterte ang trip niya to Australia. Sabi nila, ano ba ito? Personal, private trip, or official ba ito? Especially si Attorney Claire Castro, really commented itong trip ni Inday Sara Duterte just recently dyan sa Australia. So, nandito ang sagot ni Inday Sara Duterte sa mga criticism made by Attorney Claire Castro. Yon po ang, hindi naman siya ang spokesperson ni President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. So, nandito po, very controversial din itong tao, si Attorney Claire Castro, dahil po very vocal siya po when it comes to mga Dutertes, mga issues regarding or related to mga Dutertes po sa politika, and a very strong supporter of Bongbong Marcos, of Bongbong Marcos or the Marcos administration. Nandito po, let's listen to this. Let's listen to this. Saan ba ito? About holiday trips. Let's listen to this.
After the palace took note of her frequent personal trips abroad, Vice President Sara Duterte clarified on Wednesday that her recent overseas trips were neither a holiday nor a vacation. Duterte emphasized that she has been using her own money for the trips.
Kasi pag personal, hindi ako gumagamit ng pera ng bayan. Hindi ibig sabihin na personal na lakad yan ay holiday o pamamasyal yan. Walang ginamit na pera ng gobyerno sa lakad na ito. Pero nagtatrabaho pa rin ako.
She also took a swipe at the administration after Palace Press Officer Claire Castro asked whether her trip was personal or for the country.
Sorry Hindi ko alam kung sinasadya nila na ayaw intindihin o talagang lang talaga yung nasa administrasyon. I'd like to lean doon sa latter kasi sa lahat ng mga desisyon nila lately.
Castro fired back at Duterte, saying that she must be transparent about the nature of her trips as the Marcos administration will not oppose it.
Nakita po natin kung paano po sumagot ang Vice Presidente. Napaka-emosyonal. Sabi nga po natin, may kasabihan po na when emotions are high, intelligence is low. Never speak out of anger.
The palace officer also reminded the vice president that public officials have accountability when traveling abroad.
Ginamit niya ang OVP Facebook. Ito ay parte ng gobyerno, pero pang personal trip. So magkakaroon po talaga ng confusion, conflict of interest. At ngayon, na inamin niya, sinabi niya na siya nagtatrabaho bilang vice-presidente, lumabas siya ng bansa, kailangan na po siyang mag-ulat sa bayan.
Meanwhile, Duterte also alleged that her impeachment was caused by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. wanting to stay in power to eliminate her from the 2028 presidential elections, calling herself the front runner.
Well, it's all about the refusal or the intent. It is the intent of President Marcos not to step down. He wants to perpetuate himself or his family in power. It is clear from the moves of his administration against political opponents. Because I am the front runner in the presidential race in 2028, the survey shows that. And I think they want to eliminate the front runner.
Alright, yan po ang response ni Inday Sara Duterte po, no? And yes, given na yan po. Given na yan. Si Inday Sara is the front runner for the 2028 election. Everybody knows about this thing. Na based on the surveys na we saw, we read, no? Published, both print and television and radio. Si Inday Sara Duterte, when it comes to the 2028, forthcoming 2028 presidential election, siya talaga po ang number one po. In fact, malayo nga ang mga, sabihin natin, na survey rating. Although, yesterday, there was a survey by Tangieri na showing si Inday Sara Duterte garnered something like 34%, no? Against ito si former Vice President Leni Robredo. I think Leni Robredo, if I'm not mistaken, nakuha lang mga 19% lang po, no? 19%. So, it's very obvious. It's very obvious and it's given na what is happening now sa kay Inday Sara Duterte, ang impeachment niya po, trial, complaint, ang what happened to Tatay Digong po dyan sa kustodiyan ng International Criminal Court or ICC po is more on, I think, majority, if not all of the Filipinos is aware that these are all politically motivated and designed to tarnish the name of Inday Sara Duterte because of the 2028 presidential election, and at the same time destroy ang pangalan ni Tatay Digong para mabawas-bawas na mga ang supporters ng Dutertes, especially dito po sa Mindanao, sa Visayas po, no? And whether we like it or not, the momentum of the support of Inday Sara Duterte or mga Dutertes po, pasok din po sa Luzon, and some areas in the Philippines, no? So, yan po, whether we like it or not, that is the reality. Now, let's talk about ICC. Let's talk about ang ICC. Yeah, si Department of Justice Secretary si Crispin Boying Remulla also said this week na they're going to give the necessary assistance to all the victims, ang witnesses against Tatay Digong dyan po sa ICC po, no? And for me, I strongly believe that from the very beginning, since the time that was March 11, if I'm not mistaken, they brought Tatay Digong sa The Hague or dyan po sa international sa the detention center ng International Criminal Court sa The Hague po. From the very beginning, ang Marcos administration, Marcos government, nandyan na po. They are helping from the very start, no? Helping sa ICC. And to say that the government is not helping ICC po, I think that is something that I can say baloney. Baloney po. And when you talk about assisting, giving assistance to the witnesses, no? Against the case of Tatay Digong dyan po sa ICC po, whether you like it or not, let's be practical. No? Let's be practical and honest to ourselves. Now, the government is really helping. One, I'll give you an example. One, okay, itong mga witnesses, they are not rich people, di ba? They are not rich people. They don't have the financial means to go to The Hague and stand as witness. So, who is helping them? Who is helping them? Hindi ba ang gobyerno? Hindi ba ang gobyerno? Who is paying their airfare? Okay, ang airfare nila, hindi mura to go to The Hague. No? Hindi mura yun po. So, who is paying? Ang gobyerno. And if the government is paying, then, kaninong pera yun po? Hindi ba pera ng bayan yun? Hindi ba pera ng bayan yun? And we are not only talking about hundreds or thousands po. Excuse me. Ang pamasahe, how many of them? Okay, mabuti lang po kung pagdating sila from Manila International Airport, punta pa sila sa Saudi Arabia yun, sa what place is that? Dubai. And then from that stopover, then they will go to Netherlands, and from Netherlands they will take another ride by land to The Hague. Who will be paying ang mga expenses? And mabuti po, if they are not, sabihin natin, they will not eat pagdating sa The Hague. They have to sleep. They have to eat. And who will be paying itong mga expenses ng witnesses? Hindi ba tayo? Hindi ba kung sabihin nila ang gobyerno will be assisting na kaninong pera ba yon? Pera ba yon ni Remulla? Pera ba yon ni Bongbong Marcos? Hindi ba? Pera yon ng gobyerno. Ang airfare nila. Na ang accommodation, ang food nila. Mabuti lang if they will go there, The Hague, following day, balik agad sila sa Pilipinas. And, okay, although it's funny, ang mga damit nila, you know already, ang Pilipinas, mainit ang weather condition natin po. Pagdating doon, malamig. Dapat may mga jacket sila po. No? Prepare them for the weather condition dyan po sa Netherlands or The Hague. And who will be buying these things po? May pera ba yun sila? May pera ba yun sila? So, yan po. What I'm trying to say is that pangit din kung ang gobyerno keep on saying na they are not assisting ICC. ICC po. No? Pangit talaga po. For me, I disagree. Mabuti pa, mag-prangka na lang tayo, mag-be honest tayo. Sa akin lang po, instead of spending this bulk of money, to bring in ang mga witnesses dyan po sa The Hague. Sana lang po, from the very start, sana po ang gobyerno po, they did not hand over si Tatay Digong dyan po sa kustodiya ng ICC po, no? Sana ginawa na lang dito o dyan po sa Pilipinas. Let's say ang mga witnesses are from Mindanao. Magkano lang ang ticket po from Mindanao to Manila? O kung saan man ang korte yon, sa Cebu ba, sa Manila ba, o saan? Compared, ang gastos that you're going to spend ang mga witnesses to bring them to The Hague, to bring them to Netherlands. Yun lang po para sa akin. I don't know. How do you think about it? How do you look at the things po? Is it practical? Sana lang po ginawa na lang dito sa Pilipinas. Nag-turn over na lang po sana ang DOJ, ang police, no? Sa korte natin po. After all, ang korte natin is functioning. Mahirap din yung statement ni DOJ Crispin Boying Remulla when he mentioned something like ano ito? Kalimutan ko. He mentioned ano ba yan? Nakalimutan ko na, no? Alright, nakalimutan na tayo. Dahil medyo nagiging ano tayo, excited na po itong issue na po na spending huge sum of money po to ano ito, to look after ang mga witnesses po. After all, ito pala, sabi ni DOJ Secretary Remulla, no? Sabi niya itong case na po, no? We handed over kasi wala daw mga dokumento, no? Mga ebidensya nakuha nila dito sa Pilipinas. Nakuha sila sa Pilipinas po to file a case against Tatay Digong. Tatay Digong po, no? Nahirapan daw sila po. Nahirapan sila na every time pupunta sila mga sa, let's say, police station to get ang mga police report, nawala daw po. Nawala daw po. So that is the reason why maybe they decided to hand over ang case ni Tatay Digong sa The Hague na lang po or dyan po sa ICC. Sa ICC. So ngayon, nakuha na ninyo po ang mga ebidensya. Mga ebidensya against Tatay Digong. Then, saan kayo nakuha po? In other words, what you are trying to say, si Remulla, is that our justice system, ang sistema ng police natin dito po, is not functioning. Now, it is a big insult to the Filipinos. That's how I look at it. So, siguro, nandito na lang ang programa natin po. Kayo nang bahala to think whether my personal opinion or observation is my punto so wala. Kayo nang bahala po. And I believe ang mga Filipinos are smart and intelligent people. And yes, kayo nang bahala po. So hanggang dito na lang ang programa natin, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. And sana na po in whatever ways, directly or indirectly, I manage to share with you some very important news which all of you deserve. But before I'm going to conclude itong programa natin Saturday ngayon, I also want to ask ang mga friends ng kaibigan ko who is now having difficulties sa buhay niya po. And I'm referring to my friend here in Kota Kinabalu, si Jimmy Tan, who is critically ill now po sa hospital. Let us include in our prayers po ang safe and speedy recovery of my dear friend, si Jimmy Tan. To the immediate family members of Jimmy, mga siblings, mga anak niya po, let us all be strong po. Life is it's part of it, it's part of it. Let's make sure that our faith to our Creator or to our God, be it Allah, be it the Buddha or whoever po, how we call our Creator po, He will always be with us po when we ask for assistance from our Creator. So, sa lahat ng mga kababayan ko po sa Pilipinas, dito sa Malaysia, and sa iba-ibang parte ng mundo, I would like to say enjoy your weekend today, and let's wait and see. Excited din ako po to sabihin natin wait for Monday. Monday is Monday? Monday is June 29, 30, no? That will be the last day. Last day, mag-expire na po ang kontrata ng mga elected officials natin po dyan sa Senado at saka sa Kongreso po, no? Mag-expire na po ang 19th Congress dyan sa Pilipinas, and let's wait after the expiration of the contract ng mga elected officials natin, mga congressmen, no? And they are going to, we have to wait until July 28 yata yun po ang State of the Nation address of Bongbong Marcos po. And then we will see kung matuloy na po ang impeachment trial of Inday Sara Duterte. I'm sorry, thousand apology po. So with this, I would like to say once again, thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Malaysia, Sabah, the Philippines, God bless us all. And I'll see you in my next episode. Bye.